everyone, and welcome to today's Employability webinar hosted by the Adam Smith Business School. My name is Elise. I am a student recruitment and marketing coordinator here at the Adam Smith Business School. We're so excited to have you here as we explore how the University of Glasgow, and specifically the Adam Smith Business School, prepares students for career success through industry engagement, employability support, and real-world learning opportunities. We've got a range of exciting topics that we'll be covering today, all linked to how pursuing postgraduate study at the Adam Smith Business School can enhance your career prospects and give you a competitive edge when entering the job market. So employability, it's more than just securing a job after graduation. It's about gaining the skills, experience, and connections that will set you up for long-term success. So today we'll be hearing from our business development team, an industry partner and recent alumnus about how they benefited from employability initiatives at the business school. We'll also hear from our career support team, who will let you know what's available to help you navigate your professional journey. And if you have any questions at any point, you have two options today. So we have a live chat function if you've got any questions at all for our panel, and we'll try to answer questions throughout as well as at the end of the session. Alternatively, if you want to send us an email at the email address on the bottom of the screen, myself or a member of my team will get back to you there. So let's kick this all off. So first of all, we will explore how the business school connects students with industry through projects, networking opportunities, and real-world experience. So I am delighted to introduce Abigail from our business development team to tell us more
Yeah.
about how we engage with
So
industry.
I actually can't hear you, Elise, so I'm really sorry
Oh,
if I'm speaking over you. I think it's fully my laptop. Um, but just to introduce myself, I'm Abigail. I was an undergraduate at Glasgow Uni, and I now work in external engagement for Adam Smith Business School. So my role focuses on connecting external organisations with students, just to ensure that you get as many opportunities for hands-on work as possible. And I will say that from working extensively with clients, I know how much they value work experience. And there's so many ways to build this in your time at Glasgow that is already built into course curriculums. So some examples I have of this are we frequently have guest speakers in, we have consultancy courses, and what is the main focus of my role is your dissertation can be working with industry. So there is an opportunity called the industry pathway. And if we move to the next slide, I'm just happy to get into it. So if we could just have the next, I think it's, yeah, perfect. So essentially, the industry pathway allows you to work directly with an external organization in a consultancy role. So if we move to the next slide, I'll explain how that works. So essentially, what the industry pathway looks like is you will be working with an external company on a business challenge that they are facing in real time. You get to apply to up to 3 different briefs, but ultimately the choice of who works with the client is the client. So they're seeing your applications directly. It's similar to a job interview. And you'll work with that client for 8 weeks in June and July. And then that will conclude with a final presentation and an executive summary in August. And that can be in person or online. So if we move to the next slide, I wanted to talk about some of the organization types that we've worked with that are even in this year's list of briefs. So we work with consultancy organizations, we have multinational firms, social enterprises, social media apps, banks, startups, and that is only a tiny chunk of all of the opportunities we have. So if we move to our next slide. That's just a bit more about what the application process looks like. So it really is so simple to get the opportunity to work directly with a client. All you need to do is choose up to 3 projects that you're interested in. And for each one, you're going to submit a 1 to 2 page CV and a video application under 3 minutes. It is that simple. And then if you're successful, you'll be matched with a client and then you'll work with them throughout the June to July period. We actually do have a client on this call who has submitted a brief for Industry Pathway this year. She's been a guest speaker at several lectures. So Phoebe is the CEO of Penta Home Solutions, which is a family-run property business. And I would love if we could add her so I can just have a little Q&A. Hi, Phoebe.
Hi there. Can you hear me all right, Abby?
Oh, I actually can't hear you.
Perfect.
I'm so sorry. I
Oh,
think
no.
it's fully my laptop. I might try, if it's possible, leaving and rejoining the call, just because it's obviously hard to ask you questions and hear your answers when I can't hear. So I'll be right back, and hopefully this should make it happen.
Hi, Phoebe. I think we might have had some slides from yourself that you might be able to share now, if that's a good time to do it. I think we'll bring those up in a second. Okay. Just getting those up. If anyone has any questions so far that they have for Abby, just about what you were hearing earlier, please make sure that you're putting them in the comments and we will make sure that we get them answered for you today. Okay, I think we're just bringing these up. I think we might have Abby back, so I think so many technical difficulties today. Just classic that this is when they happen. So I'll bring Abby back, and I think you can just go ahead with your Q&A as planned. So sorry about this, folks, but over to you, Abby.
Perfect. I am so happy that when I rejoined, the audio came back, because I was like, please let this work. So I'm really excited to be getting to ask you some questions today. Did you have an opportunity to introduce yourself? Only because I
haven't just yet. Do you want me to do that now, or do you want to wait till my slides are up? Completely up to you.
This is devastating. It's just gone mute for me again. I can't hear you again. So I'm gonna leave and rejoin again, unless I could send at least my questions, but obviously I would prefer to send those over, but I'm gonna try again and hope. I'm so sorry about this.
That's okay. I think, Phoebe, we've got your slides coming up. So if you go ahead, introduce yourself, and then we'll get your slides going. That's okay.
Perfect. Do you want me to start now? Shall I wait till my slides are there? Start now. Perfect. Yeah. So hi, everyone. I'm Phoebe Xenagis. For anyone who wants to attempt to pronounce my last name, just say eggs and haggis really quickly, and you've mastered it. Eggs and haggis. It's a fun little party trick I tell everyone. So I'm the founder of what is, perfect, slides are up, perfect timing. So I'm the founder of what is now our family-run, award-winning property business, Penta Home Solutions. So I wanted to give you a really brief and quick overview as to what it is that I do and how I got started. So next slide, please. Perfect. So this is a bit more of an overview as who I am. So I'm 27 years old. I actually have an art and design background, so nothing to do with property or business. I have a fine art degree, and I'm now very proud to say I'm a six-figure business owner, a speaker, and a mentor. Next slide, please. So what is it that I do? In really simple terms, I manage Airbnbs all across the country. This strategy in property is called serviced accommodation. So it's a really simple model. I rent a property from a landlord, I furnish it, make it look all pretty, and then I rent it out long term to a client. So what makes our strategy so easy and stress-free is we don't work with short-term lets. For example, someone doesn't stay in one of our properties for a weekend or a holiday, which is very time-consuming. It's really short turnaround. So there's loads of invoices, cleaners, check-ins, check-outs, which can be stressful. Instead, we work with long-term corporate clients that need a place to stay when they're working away from home. So for example, it could be a contractor working on the roads for 6 months at a time, rather than their employer paying thousands of pounds a month to put their employees in expensive hotels. We can put them in a lovely home which is more like a home from home for them. So the employers are happy because they're saving thousands of pounds a month on hotel bills. And the employees are happy because instead of staying in a box room where they can't even cook or have their own space to relax, they get a kitchen to cook, living room to relax, even like garage, garden, etc. Next slide, please. So something that I wanted to do when I started up the business is be able to have more time freedom and be able to travel. So my main goal when I started the business was to make sure that it was as remote as possible. So I'm now very proud to say that almost our entire business is run without us needing to be even in the country. So as long as I have a laptop connected to Wi-Fi, the business kind of runs itself. Next slide, please. So I thought I'd give you a really quick run through as to how I got started, because that question about how I got started is what most people ask me. So just over 2 years ago, I was actually working in a job full time. I had no idea that I'd be starting up a property business. I just wanted to have some passive income, kind of like a side hustle. So when I did want to quit my job, which was my goal, when I did want to quit, I'd be able to fall back onto something. So as this says, I was really unfulfilled, suffering from burnout, and I wanted a way out. I heard my whole life you could make money from property, but I had no idea where to start. So I thought, I'll go find someone who's been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and they can just show me what to do. So first thing I did was I found a mentor and someone who could just guide me. Next slide, please. So within 3 months of being mentored and having one-to-one, so just an hour a week of education, I managed to replace my salary and quit my job, which was very satisfying, let me tell you that. Next slide, please. Then by month 6, we made our first 6 figures in business, and I just hired my whole family. So my mum, dad, and brother joined the business. I'm from a really loving, close-knit Greek family anyway, so regardless, they were all helping me. So I thought, it's now time you kind of join this. Next slide, please. Then within our first year, we tripled our revenue, and then we started to just teach other people and show them what to do, because so many people asked us, how do you get started? How can I do this? So we started to actually show people. Next slide, please. And I'm very proud to say that now it's just a full-fledged business. We're able to travel the world, still grow the business, and more importantly, we get to show people what to do as well. Next slide, please. The thing I find most rewarding about what we do is I'm able to partner with universities like the University of Glasgow and host webinars and speak at events to show people what's possible when they don't think it's possible. So when I started, I was working a 9 to 5, some days working 12-hour days, 7 days a week. I had very little funds to start with, no background in property or business, and I made it work. So I love showing people what's possible when you don't think you can start something. Next slide, please. So that's me. I hope that that's been a little bit of word of wisdom for you and has inspired you. And please do follow us to follow our journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Phoebe. That was so interesting to hear. I love that. I actually have a few questions for you, if you wouldn't mind answering just about your involvement with the business school and what you enjoy about it. And we're so lucky to have you be involved, because when you look at your journey, what you've done is absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
So the first question I wanted to ask is, would you be able to let us know just how you currently work with the business school, how you're involved?
Absolutely. So at the moment, I'm doing 2 main things primarily with the business school. The first thing is holding guest lectures. These are opportunities for me to show the students how they can start a business from scratch, the pitfalls and kind of the reality of running a business, because in all honesty, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I've made it seem like it was super easy. It's been so much fun, but it is hard. And I think it's really important to show students the reality of starting a business and what you should and shouldn't do. I also have, as a business, we've submitted industry projects to be able to collaborate with the students. So the one for us that we think is so incredibly important for any business really is all about generating leads. And we've grown very organically, which I'm very proud to say, but it does mean when people ask us, how do you get new clients? How do you get new properties or people that want to be mentored by you, I don't really have an answer to that. It's just people are inspired by what we do and want to work with us, which is quite tricky when you want to scale a business when we have no idea how we've scaled it. So that's why we wanted to put in a project where it was about securing leads that can be more numerical and statistic.
Yeah, well, that is exactly what I was going to ask you about, was just, could you go into more detail about the project that you've submitted for the industry pathway and what that looks like, just so we can give students an idea of what it could look like for them next year?
Absolutely. So there are three main clients that we work with because there are lots of different branches to our business. The first one is working with landlords. Obviously, that's one lead that we'd love to get more of, because without the landlords, we wouldn't have these properties. We don't buy any of the properties, we just rent them. So being able to generate more leads with landlords is one area that we'd love to grow in. The next one is having clients who want mentoring, who are interested in doing exactly what we do. So that's another avenue. Commonly, we work with people who sometimes are university graduates or working and want something part-time, kind of like me when I started. I wasn't planning on just jumping ship straight into this project. I just wanted kind of passive income on the side until I was ready to move on. Or we work with landlords, funnily enough, who see what we do and want to replicate this themselves because they see how much more money they can be making through this strategy compared to a standard buy-to-let. And finally, we also would love more leads for investors, so people who have the money. So we normally say these people are cash rich but time poor. So somebody that has the money to spend, but they don't have the expertise or time to really put that into a project. So those are the three main avenues that at the moment we are getting consistent leads for, but that's just through our social media presence and me speaking at events. It's amazing, but there is no like strategy for that. So if I stepped away from the business or my brother stepped away, it's difficult to replicate that. So I think we'd like to understand how to have something that's scalable. Hope that makes sense.
No, 100%. That's so interesting to hear. I would also love to know, because obviously you've spoken about how that's what the brief is and like looking to scale up and find more leads. I was wondering what value student projects have added to your business. Like, have you had past experience, or will this be your first time? And what would you expect it to lead to?
I think the value that students bring is it's a new perspective. I'm really new to this industry anyway. We've only had this business for 2 years, but our view on it is really narrow-minded. So it's brilliant having someone who's a complete outsider who can kind of have a bird's eye view of the business and a really fresh perspective, because commonly they'll see things, they'll see gaps or ways to improve that we wouldn't have noticed before. So I think that's the biggest positive and biggest contribution that having a student can bring to us.
Wow. Yeah, 100%. That kind of leads to my final question for you, which I think you've kind of answered it with the benefits of like what a student perspective can bring. But I'd love to know what you look for in a candidate when they're applying to your organization. And I know it is still early days, but like the things you'd be
Absolutely.
looking for. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd say someone really creative and who thinks outside the box is really important for us, because you have to be a little bit creative in our industry to really stand out. There are so many people in property and so many people who do what we do that we kind of need to think out the box to have a unique selling point. So I'd say creativity is definitely something that we look for. And we also like someone who I think is quite numbers driven. So they like looking at the facts and figures and stats. I say that because I'm not numbers driven at all. As I've alluded to, it's been a bit of a fluke that we've grown at the speed we have, and it would be nice to know how we've grown so quickly and kind of put some stats and facts behind that.
Yeah, wow, thank you so much. That was
You're
all of the
welcome.
questions from me, but it was so incredible to hear from you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was so great. Thank you both, Phoebe and Abigail, for that. Phoebe, it was so interesting to learn about your business, and it was really inspiring as well to hear that story. So thank you for your time. I will just let the two of you both head off. So thank you so much for that. So it's always great to hear from industry professionals, but now let's hear directly from a former student who's experienced these employability opportunities firsthand. So today we have Kirsty here to speak to us to discuss how studying at the Adam Smith Business School helped to shape her career. So we bring Kirsty to the stage. Hi Kirsty, can you hear us okay?
Hi, Elise. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great. Thank you so much, Kirsty. So first of all, could you please introduce yourself and let us know what you studied at the Adam Smith Business School, when you graduated, and what you've been up to since you graduated?
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share my experience here. Hi, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining from. My name is Kirti Dubey, and I'm from India. I completed my Master in Business Administration (MBA) from Adam Smith Business School last year. I graduated in December 2025. Since then, it's been quite exciting. I've been working at the University of East London as a business development manager. I got this job right before my graduation, so I started working from December 2025, and now I'm based in London, working with the University of East London.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. So you got your job right before you graduated, you said. How do you feel the business school prepped you to take that next step in your career?
I think it's been an incredible sort of and I think ever evolving experience at the business school. Um, what the business school has done is kind of it pushed my critical thinking at much sharper level. It has brought in a lot more clarity of thoughts, clarity in terms of my goals, clarity in terms of what I want to do. With all the academic rigor, that we've been put through, structuring our argument properly, backing all the claims that we make with the evidence, thinking systematically, um, and helping us solve the real business problem, which is again part of the industry pathway that we've just kind of learned about. Um, and then, MBA, what MBA and what, the program at the business school does it, that kind of trains you to navigate the complexity that we experience once we get out of the university and get back to the workspace. Again, stakeholder thinking, very important. It kind of helped me understand how incentives, power, culture, timing, all kind of, comes together in form of strategy, and how to kind of work with it to ensure that, whatever work that you are managing is kind of, done well. And
Yeah.
personally, I think sitting in rooms full of people with different professions, such as I had one of my classmates, a dentist. So doctors, engineers, entrepreneurs, consultant, different professions, and think, and you realize that you know how much you don't know, and there's a long way to go. So that's what you know school really did to sort of create a space for us and prep us, and I think it just kind of it repositioned me intellectually, not just kind of put me in some place. It also sort of if I could say that the business school also helped me articulate my experience very differently. Now, when I speak at my workplace or even otherwise, I'm more strategic and I'm less operational, less transactional. The consultancy style projects that we worked on gave me understanding of how UK, based companies operate, how the culture sort of is, and how one should conduct themselves, and how I need to speak in the interviews, as and when I get to that point. Um, the academics pushed us to kind of justify everything that we were talking about, provide evidence, and that kind of discipline helped us massively in my workspace, of
Mhm.
course, in my interviews to begin with, and now in my work, when I'm kind of sitting in a room full of senior leadership team and board level meetings. The conversations are very different. The confidence that I have gained from business school, and my time at business school, is now helping me you know um, conduct myself better and be able to kind of really contribute in those meetings very differently. The environment, forces you to operate at a very, very higher standard. And I think now that has become a very new normal for me.
That was such a strong, cohesive answer, Kirty. Thank you so much for for all of that. I'm so glad that you were able to get such a good experience whilst you were studying here. And I think you mentioned like being able to sit with people who are from like essentially different walks of life, different backgrounds. And yeah, I think it's so vital to meet different people, isn't it, when you're learning, so that you can gain those different perspectives. So thank you so much for that. And you obviously just mentioned so many different things that you learned and different experiences, but what sort of professional skills and knowledge do you think um, are the most valuable to you now that the Adam Smith Business School helped you evolve?
Um, I think it's just, you know, it gives you a very wholesome sort of professional skills.
Mhm.
Um, like I mentioned before, it just sort of helps you make your thinking very, very strategic. Um, you know, um, Very critical thinking. Like you look at things holistically. You kind of you move away from like a very single focused approach. Now you look at things very holistically. Now earlier, and this is just I can say this about myself, that I didn't really have attention to detail, and that was one of the things and areas in terms of where I could improve myself. And now
Mhm.
I can say, I'm not saying that I've completely transformed myself as far as attention to detail is concerned, but now I'm conscious. I'm aware that this is the area of improvement for me. And now because I'm conscious, I pay attention to details. So you see that it seems a very small thing in the whole scheme of things, but this small thing makes a huge difference in my
Yeah.
day-to-day work and the contribution that I make in my role, or whatever I'm doing right now. So this was just one example. Other than that, it kind of really helps you take things in a 360-degree view. So you look at things not just from, okay, this is my role, this is my job, this is what I'm doing, but you look at, like, okay, how is it going to impact my colleagues? How is it going to impact my team? How is it going to impact my department? How is it going to impact the overall organization? How is it impacting me as a personally? How am I kind of impacting others by any actions or any work that I'm doing? So there is a greater awareness of the work you do. There's a greater awareness of, you need to be better at whatever you do each day. You cannot become better overnight, but can you get better by doing little by little each day?
Mhm.
This is how the business school has kind of really transformed by sort of adding a very how do I say, adding adding to your professional skills little by little. Critical thinking, again, very, very important thing. How do you effectively manage stakeholders, right? You have class full of people who are coming from different countries, different cultural backgrounds, different professional backgrounds. If you can't be with them, if you can't manage them, how are you going to manage anyone in your workspace? So your learning starts from the very classroom that you're going to sit in. Um, and and then you learn, you evolve, right? How do you manage people? How do you work with them? So again, very, very important skill that that you learn from your classroom at the at the business school. Again, um, another very important thing, a professional skill that I learned from business school is that be less transactional, because people work with people, and it's important that we build those relationships. We invest that time, energy, effort into building that relationship and move away from transactional relationship, or that kind of approach. Invest in people, build that relationship. It might not give you result immediately, but once you kind of invest in building relationship with people, that kind of network, it's going to eventually benefit you in the ways that you would not even think of. Mm, Another skill, patience, which is, I think, we learn generally, but the business school, the time at business school, in your class, you will learn patience. Have patience. Don't rush into things. You will be stretched, but don't rush. Don't really, write off things. Give people time. Give yourself time, most importantly, and you will see how you eventually transform and become a better version of yourself.
Amazing. Again, thank you so much for that strong answer, Kirti. So I'm just slightly conscious of time. So I just
Sure.
have one final question for yourself. What would be the one big tip that you would give to our offer holders that are watching today, just in
Um,
any sense, in any
Yeah,
context?
absolutely. Just three tips: one academic, one career, one personal advice. The academic, do your pre-readings. Whatever's expected out of you, do pre-reading. Don't dominate the groups. Um, that's my academic advice. Because if you do pre-reading, it will show that you have done the pre-reading, and it will show who hasn't.
Yeah.
Career advice: use the career team wisely. Um, don't do it in a panic mode. Do it diligently from the time you actually start university. It'll help you prep better. Use mock interviews, get your CV reviewed multiple times, because it's going to evolve through the year. Attend employer events, because that's going to be very important, and speak to alumni, because people are very, very open, more than you think. Really,
Yeah.
they're very helpful. And one last personal advice: protect your energy. This is going to be very intense here. So protect that energy, build relationship beyond transactional networking. And the last thing, whatever program you're going to do, it will stretch you, but let it, and you will be rewarded at the end.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Kirsty. I really appreciate your time today, and I'm sure that our offer holders, wherever they're watching from, appreciate it as well. So thank you so much for that. And I will
Thank you,
just
Ali.
remove you from the stage. So we have heard about industry engagement and student experiences, but what support is available to help you navigate your career journey? To tell us more, I'd like to introduce Iona Phillips, who is a student development coach here at the University of Glasgow. So I will just bring Iona to the stage. Hi, Iona. Thank you so much for being here today. I will just hand over to you, if that's okay.
Hi, Elise. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
hi.
brilliant. Thank you. Thank you
Perfect.
so much. And thanks, Kurti, because I think a lot of what you were saying kind of backs up what I'm going to be going over. So
Yeah.
that's really nicely kind of led on to what I want to
Mhm.
say. So so I am one of the student development coaches based here in the Adam Smith Business School. If we could just move on to the next slide, please, that would be fantastic. So, as you can see, you have a dedicated student experience team here at the Adam Smith Business School. So, basically, we cover a really wide range of support. So, myself and my colleagues, Carol and Bruce, are your dedicated student development coaches. So we provide careers and employability support for all subjects here at the business school. So I am linked to the management subject group. My colleague Carol works with economics, and my colleague Bruce works with accounting and finance. So it's really great that we're able to support you in a really dedicated and specific way. And I'll go into that in a little bit more detail. And also a kind of really important aspect of our team is your well-being. and we want to make sure that you are supported. I think stress was mentioned just in one of the questions that I've seen coming in today, and so we want to make sure that you are able to have colleagues here where you can speak about anything that you have going on. So really, our mission is to support your employability and your skills development, but also you as a whole, and in that really kind of holistic way. So we also have some really great initiatives, and my colleague Karen, who's at the bottom of the screen here, runs some amazing, for example, case competitions, and you can take part in those both within the school and then as well as kind of international opportunities. So there is also central support available in the University of Glasgow, but it is fantastic that you have the support for you here in the school. And I'm just going to move on to the next slide if that's possible. So really, just in terms of our mission and our vision, we really do want to make sure that it is a really kind of collaborative and supportive environment for students, and make sure that students leave feeling empowered. And I think just hearing from Kirty as well, I was so pleased to hear that she used the phrase that her confidence had increased in her time at the business school, and that's really what we are here to do. I think, coming to study perhaps in a new country, in a new institution, it can be a lot of change that you're experiencing. So we want to make sure that you do feel as though your confidence can build and develop over your time with us, and we do that in lots of different ways. So if we could just move on to the next slide, please. And we'll just keep going. So one of our kind of flagship initiatives is the Adam Smith Skills Award. So this is an extracurricular award that you have the option to participate in, which a lot of students find very beneficial. So both in terms of kind of developing their skills while they're here, and then also having something extra to be able to speak about with future employers when it comes to going for interviews after you have finished your program with us. It's actually it's not a huge time commitment to complete, but you get the chance to complete different sections of the award. So they're under 3 separate categories, which are my development, my community, and my future. And so basically you can gain credit through, for example, volunteering alongside your studies, or getting involved in initiatives through the university, as well as attending, for example, workshops, mock assessment centres. I think Kirty mentioned mock interviews as well. So all these things basically you can reflect on and gain credit alongside your studies. So if we could just move on to the next slide, please. So there is a question that's just come in as well, specifically about HRM and whether there is kind of the opportunity to gain real experience, which there absolutely is in terms of our industry projects. And just to say, Kirty also mentioned kind of engaging with alumni from the programme, and actually by coincidence this afternoon what we're doing is running an event for our HRM students here, where we're inviting alumni back from the past few years to share their experience with our students. So that is a really important link for us as well, and something that we always try to do. So kind of for every programme, there will be kind of specific and bespoke opportunities for you both to take part in experience, such as the industry projects that we heard about earlier, but also to kind of build and develop your network and meet students from previous years, as well as engaging with industry. So that, I think at the Adam Smith Business School, that is a huge focus and something that we we definitely wanted to highlight and to get across today. So as well as the support that we offer here in the school, there is a central career service at the university as well, where you can get your CV checked, for example, because creating a UK CV might be something completely new. And they also run masterclasses on topics such as LinkedIn or finding a job in the UK as an international student. So there is there's a kind of great support offering both within the school and throughout the University of Glasgow as a whole. So that's really all I wanted to cover with you this morning. Thanks very much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Iona, for all of that and for going through your slides. I really appreciate it. So now, everyone, we'd love to hear from you if you have any questions at all. We're on our sort of Q&A section. So if you have any questions about employability, industry engagement, career support, you can drop them in the chat and we can answer them. I think we've got a couple of minutes left of the session. If you don't want to message your question, that's completely okay. You can always use the email address at the bottom of the screen and we'll get back to you with any questions that you might have. So I'm just seeing if we've got any questions coming up. I think we've answered. I'm seeing that there's a couple of questions for Phoebe, but unfortunately she's had to head off. So if you want, you can always send us an email with that question, then we can get in touch with Phoebe, and then she might even respond to you directly with her response. So I'm just still seeing. I think seeing as we've got a couple of minutes, I actually just wanted to see if I could bring Abby back up on the stage. If Abby can hear me okay.
Yeah.
Fab. You very briefly mentioned the fact that you yourself studied at the business school. So I just wanted to ask you essentially, like, what was that experience like getting the role here? Like, how did you find your studies at the business school helped you get the job at the business school?
I think, there were so many elements that contributed that came directly from the business school, because what made transitioning into the role so straightforward was the support that I'd had from the university at my time there. So it was things like I used the career service a lot. I actually had an internship with the career service, which it was amazing to see that behind the scenes. And I think having that helped me work behind the scenes at the business school. Um, I'm trying to think what else. The access to societies, the general sense of community. It's really a place that sort of allowed me to flourish because it's just
Yeah.
like such a supportive university. Um, and the classes at the business school are incredible. The amount of modules that I was able to go into. So I studied business. I knew I wanted a role in sort of business development, external engagement, and I was able to tailor my electives to that and sort of like pave the way to my career. So, no, 100%. There were so many different elements of my time at Adam Smith Business School that led to me feeling comfortable going into this role and really moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Thank you so much for that, Abby. I'm just seeing that we've got a couple of questions coming in, so I just wanted to see if we could potentially get some answered. So we've got this one. I'll just bring this up. I'm an offer holder for the MBA program from India and wanted to know about the career prospects for international students in the UK. I'm not sure, Abby or Iona, potentially, if you'd be able to have a hand at answering this question.
Yep, sure. So it's a great question, and I think obviously it's kind of an ever evolving situation. I think we work really closely with you to make sure that you're prepared as possible to enter the UK labour market if that's something that you want to do. And I think, kind of like everybody has been saying today, the more that you can build your network while you're here, start to hear maybe about the pathways from graduates from your course in previous years, that can be a really good kind of first step. And as I said, also we do offer kind of workshops and support on finding employment in the UK as an international student. I think, basically the network that you can create while you're here at Glasgow can really help. That the labour market and kind of the visa restrictions for international students are challenging, but we have some great examples like Kirti who have secured employment in the UK after graduation.
Great, thank you so much for that. I can remove this question from the screen. I think we have another one that perhaps Kirti might be able to answer. I mean, we've got a couple that Kirti could maybe answer. So first of all, I will add Kirti to the screen. So I think we've got this one. It might be from the same person, but how difficult is it to find a job in the UK being an international student? Kirti, do you think you'd be able to answer this? I'm not sure if you're currently muted, or perhaps you won't be able to hear me. I think she possibly can't hear me, but I think Kirti is a really great example of, you know, being able to use what you learn at the business school, despite being an international student, to actually go on and land a job. I think she mentioned that she was able to secure her role currently at another higher education institution down in England right before she graduated. So whilst like there definitely can be difficulties to getting a job in the UK, I think it's definitely something that's very possible with the skills that you're going to learn whilst at the business school. So I think we have time for one more question. Let me see, which might be a good one for Abby. So is the industry project available for students, or are there certain eligibility criteria for business analytics course?
Yeah, of course. So to my knowledge, 13 of the master's courses at the business school are eligible for industry pathway. So all you need to do is be on that course. So this year, business analytics isn't, but I know that we are actively working on adding it to the cohort next year. So as long as you are a student within an eligible course, that is the only requirement, and then you're free to apply. I hope that helps.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Abby. So sorry that we haven't been able to answer all of the questions that there are, but again, if you really want the answers to them, please use that email address at the bottom of the screen and we'll happily answer your questions that you have. So I think if we go to the next slide, I'm seeing the social media comment, but we've got a QR code that you can scan. So that does bring us to the end of our employability webinar. We hope that this session has given you valuable insights into how the Adam Smith Business School supports your career development. A huge thank you to our speakers, the panelists, and just for all of you, wherever you are in the world, for joining us today. If you'd like to learn more or get involved in employability activities, please reach out to our team and make sure that you follow us on social media by scanning this QR code to find out more about life as part of the Adam Smith Business School. Something I should mention, a few weeks ago, we did record our first webinar in this offer holders series, Scholarship Success, which is available to watch now on our YouTube. Our scholarships coordinator, Maria, spoke to us all about all of the Adam Smith Business School scholarships. So if that's something that you're interested in, I would recommend checking that out. But thank you, that's all from me. We really look forward to hopefully seeing you at future events and maybe even here in September. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.